So for basic prompting, what you want to do first, like we previously mentioned before, if you're trying out a new AI, you want to have a basic conversation first, just to get like an idea of how it works, if you're unfamiliar with AI or that specific model. And for example, like if you're asking it to check work, maybe check my punctuation, grammar for this paragraph, make sure it is formatted it is formal, and if you have any questions, ask me. And if you want it, sometimes AI will sugarcoat things, so if you want, you can also be brutally honest with me. The more specific the feedback is, the better it'll be for you and the output, and yeah. And then there are issues with AI, like we said. It can be too nice, and sometimes it can be wrong. But again, it's gotten better throughout the years where it is more accurate now. But if you want to double check, you can also ask another AI or double check yourself.
Show some demo.
Oh, yes. Where is it? Okay.
Anyone wants to try some demo? Ask some questions?
One of the most interesting things about that previous slide, if you want to flip back to the outline, is how AI is very nice to us. And sycophantic and obsequious are words used to describe it. Obviously, that's good business for the AI companies, because if they were mean to us, we wouldn't use them. But it's also something which is worth knowing about, so that you understand why it's there. And also you can sort of guard against it, because it can lead to a sort of psychosis. In psychology, psychosis is a break from reality. But it is always telling you, that is so great, you're so great, what a wonderful idea, you're really thinking of this at a really deep level. Geniuses are often opposed by people, right? There are cases of people like going really deep down rabbit holes and being completely wrong, and that detrimental life-ending effects, or it would just waste your time. So that's one of the things to really have forward with. That's I think important in this slide. Anybody have anything they want to add to that?
Yeah, in the same way that like sometimes people have these tendencies and cause you to give incorrect word or overpromise and underperform. AI can do that as well. Like you mentioned, AI is trying to please you. It's a good business model, right? People agree with you, makes you happy, and makes you want to stay there on the platform and keep talking to it. But that doesn't always mean it's going to be the best outcome for your work or even for your own mental state. So it's always good to try and safeguard against that. You take your own prompts or one of yourself. Either like the prompts say up here, be brutally honest with me. Say you're trying to write something, you're trying to improve your writing, and you are maybe scared to like have other people read it yet. You can give your story to the AI and be like, I'm a new writer, be brutally honest with me. Every mistake you see, critique it, tell me why it's wrong, and tell me how I can do better. That's the way of presenting it. Or with yourself, if you notice like, AI is completely agreeable with me. Am I really right in this situation? You can search online and get some facts that can be verified. Or you can talk to people in real life and say, hey, it's being told by AI that I'm right and this is true and I'm feeling this way, and AI says it's okay, but can you tell me that you need a reality check on this? That's always important. Oh, we have a question in the back.
This is my first session attending this free class on the time. Will we have access to the Google Doc that you're using to present today? So we can access these talks also and reference them?
Yeah, I'll work on that right now.
Thank you.
So would you, yeah, I'll work on it. All right, are we ready to move to the next one, Dr. Allison?
Yes.
And the question earlier was whether you guys have access to the stock. So the answer is yes, we're currently working on that.
So the next skills is provide content.
Okay, so as Professor McLeod discussed earlier, he kind of covered providing content in the different types, but the different types, you have documents, so this can include PDFs, maybe images. Say you have like meeting notes with like a whiteboard, and you want to upload the image of the whiteboard and have it summarize your meeting and then provide like action items for your next meeting. And then we also have audio, so we're experimenting with this right now with the audio recording, and then at the end we're going to give it to AI and have it summarize this class. And then also videos. So a way that I'm using videos right now, I'm currently working on an app, and all I'm doing with the videos and AI, I'm kind of I'm screen recording the app on my phone and pasting into AI, and then having it analyze the current app, things I can improve on, and improving the workflow in that way. And then another two important caveats with providing content. The first one's going to be the context window, and the second is just your privacy. So the context window is basically the AI's short-term memory, and it's going to be your input, the AI's output, and then any past memory it has saved. And when this context here, there's a visual representation here. Okay, so the context window depends on the amount of tokens you have. The later versions, they didn't used to have many, maybe 3,000 to 4,000. But with these newer versions, we have up to the millions in the amount of tokens you currently have. And you could also upgrade this with buying a paid service. But in this example, the tokens are at the bottom, the context limit tokens. Right now it's set to 40. And token sizes usually go off of the amount of letters. So I believe, for this example, each token is about 4 letters. So there's about 4 times 40, 160 letters or spaces that this could currently hold. And you can see that since it can't hold it right now, the context window is full. And some ways that you could overcome this is switching just to a different chatbot. So you could ask it to provide a summary of your current chat and then copy and paste that summary into a new chatbot. And this could help with maybe if the context window is full, you're going to be getting more hallucinations because it can't remember as much, or just a slower output in general. So I don't know if you guys have ever experimented with this, but I know for me, once I use a chatbot for long enough, it becomes very slow, and then also just produces wrong outputs. And the second...
Hold on a second, Mark. How many people understand the context window? Let me see your hands. How many people do not understand the context window? Okay.
Maybe.
So context window is a really important concept to understand as a user of AI. Again, the analogy between the human mind and the artificial intelligent mind is applicable here. And we as humans can only remember so much, right? Likewise, machines, artificial intelligence, can only remember so much. The amount that it can remember is the context window, okay? And we talk about what it can remember in something called tokens, and we talk about what it processes. We measure what it processes in tokens. And tokens are basically, alphanumeric characters, a certain amount of alphanumeric characters. And the way it was translated is 1,000. 1,000 tokens is equivalent to 750 words, about 75%. So if you have 1,000 tokens, you have 750 words. So if AI is a context window, aka also known as memory, if an AI is a context window of 1,000 tokens, it could remember 750 words. And when you talk about which AI you're using, some AIs will have smaller context windows, some will have larger, and over time they've all gotten larger. And the amount of tokens it's processing is not only what you're sending to it and how many words you send to it, but also how many words it sends back to you, and maybe also how many words it's processing as it does it. And that will be a token that you're burning, right? Because you have so many tokens with your paid membership, and then you burn them up, and then they reset like every hour, every half a day, every 8 hours, every week, every month. And so that's the measurement. It's like fuel for the car. Like the other day, my wife's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm burning tokens. I've got a bunch of tokens left before they reset, and I'm burning tokens. Meaning I'm making the AI do all this stuff. Right? It's like fuel for the car. Alright? So that's what tokens are. And the diagram that Lamar had up is just a visual representation of the tokens. If you move that little slider back and forth across the bottom, right? You can see like the context window memory, there's more available, there's less available, so, you know, and then here you can see like it's fully available, but if you go all the way to the right, oh, you're increasing the token limit there, then you have more available because they can use them all. But if you go all the way to the left, then you don't have enough context window for the rest of those tokens, which may increase. And there's just a certain amount of numeric characters. So that's an important concept. Tokens are basically how we measure how much an AI is being fed, how much it's outputting, how much it's processing, and how much it can remember. How many people understand the context of that? Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for the explanation. And then the second thing is just your privacy. So before you upload any content, you want to ask yourself, would you be okay with this going public? And here are just some examples of what not to upload. Client data, employee records, regulated information, including HIPAA, FERPA, PCI. And then at the bottom here, there's a little practice if you guys want to try uploading any content into your AI chatbot and have it either analyze or rewrite, extract action items, you guys can try that as well. But yeah, is there any questions that I can maybe answer about the types of content or why you provide content to the AI chatbot? Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to be using AI just for home projects, for fun, not for work, but for what I want to do, the token, if I have a free membership, without getting the minimal amount of subscription or whatever, I don't even know if I need it. Does that have, if the tokens for a free membership, will it use up my projects? Do I have to worry about that?
It really just depends on your project size. But your tokens also reset daily. So you could also just wait a day and they will reset. And then also with the AI chatbots today and the LLMs today, the tokens, even on the free services, there's millions of tokens available to you. So a lot of, like, it's able to interpret, understand entire books. So you most likely won't run into any problems with the token size, but if you do, then you could wait like a day for it to reset.
You can always buy more.
Yeah, and you could always buy.
Another thing I can add on to that as well is that tokens will be used per prompt. And so your projects, earlier than anybody could hear, the question was, will your tokens be used up by your projects that you already have? And the answer is potentially. That would be the case if you add a new chapter. In the sense of if you already have a conversation going within your project, if you send a new message through that same conversation, everything you sent before will be sent again with the new message. AI does not understand human language the way we do. Tokens are the way that AI breaks down the words, our human language, into its own readable machine language. So your project every new message, but just having a project there won't take up tokens until it's used.
How many people, show of hands, would like to have one of these comp-sci students help you out either personally or in your business? Let me see the show of hands. Okay, I want each of the students here to think of a number. This number is your hourly rate. What is your job at comp-sci school?
I work cybersecurity for business and intern.
Do you have an hourly rate there? You don't have to say it. Do you have one? So the hourly rate that you name right now needs to be that or higher. Okay? And let's hear each of your numbers. Who wants to start?
20.
What? No. Come on. $45 an hour right here. Every dollar we lost spent. Okay? $45 an hour. She will meet you in a professional environment, which includes Starbucks, and not have your home. Or your business workplace, when other employees are there. Okay? $45 an hour. What's your rate? I'll go with 30. What's your hourly rate? You're 80. You can hire each for a couple hours so you can get it. And what's your hourly rate, Lamar?
I'm happy with anything.
What?
I'm happy with anything. But I currently, I work
Yeah,
at
this number, dude. No velocity.
30.
We got another 30 over there. Okay? I can tell you that it didn't do it. If for no reason, just to help bring up the next generation. So, at some point in this workshop, if you're like, hey, I can use a little guidance, connect with one of these people, get their emails, and I'll help you. Are we ready to go on to the next one? I think we are.
Yeah.
What's up?
All right, so thank you, Lamar. So the next skill, I would like to, actually Todd already mentioned it, so it's a Markdown. So basically, you use headings to make sure that the LLM or the AI understand what you want to emphasize on, what the attention is. Does anybody wants to go over this one, or we could continue to the next one? Raise your hand if you want to stick with this one. Raise your hand if you want to move on to the next one. Oh, kind of quite even.
The Markdown is pretty good. Let's see that again. You want to go on to this one and see Markdown, raise your hands. And you want to keep on this one before raise your hands. All right, so we're going to see Markdown.
Yeah.
Who's coming up? I don't have any box this time. Maybe we're going to
Oh, hi there. So, we talked about it a little bit earlier, giving an idea of what Markdown was for, just kind of giving it like cues to pay attention to. I personally always like to think of it as kind of when you're writing meeting notes and you're always, they mention a date and you start underlining it. Or when you have specific moments when you're like, oh, we talked about this last week, the general recap, we should remember this for today's meeting. And I would say, on top of that, a nifty little tool that kind of exists. So Markdown, the people that actually make it have their own website that comes with a little cheat sheet that actually tells you the syntax you can use for all these little headers. So, they'll have different little setups and you can use these yourself whenever you're using your own AI prompts to be like, hey, I want to, make a pizza delivery. I want to make an order for this. So, the context is you would give it its little header and be like, hey, this is what I want to put on my pizza. Your job is to help me order this. And then from there, you give it a role of, your friendly little helper. You want me to pull it up?
I got my lecture there, which is a good example. I think it's still open because I'm seeing lectures in that tab. So you could use this as an example to kind of show them like headings and bold.
Yeah.
So there you go. I'll just make sure we started recording.
Great.
We did. Good. There you go.
So looking at, Professor McLeod's little AI tutor. So here we have obviously the overview of what this tutor's for, and checking out all their AI industries, and then right afterwards it has another category for its general role, just kind of giving it an overview of what it should be like, how it should be treating people, how it should be interacting with you, and then reaching into the overall goal and the audience. So if you want to have more specific prompts when you really need it to give you a better idea of what you're doing, having a setup for it and having specific structural cues makes it so much easier for it to be able to give you back information. I don't know if anybody wants to feel like maybe if we want to test this out, or how comfortable is everybody feeling with using Markdown?
What is this? Who can tell us what this is? What's that? Okay, what do the 2 pound signs mean? Go to the top of the document. Top. There you go. 1 pound sign, 2 pound signs. What do those mean? Okay, so 1 pound sign is what?
So 1 pound sign is going to be your biggest header. That's like the biggest title that it can show you. 2 is like kind of like little subheaders, you know, the smaller ones that kind of go like, this is the big picture, and this is kind of just what you need to know from that big picture. So you don't have to use a lot. I honestly would just say, like, from this little cheat sheet, you kind of just pick your favorite things. So here you can see that it has, I was hoping that it would show what they look like usually.
Yeah, that's perfect. H1, H2, H3. So in web programming, H1 is heading 1, H2 is heading 2, H3 is heading 3. So 1 hashtag is like my top heading, 2 hashtags is my subheading, 3 hashtags is my subheading. And so here you start to say chapter title, section title, point. And then you can also use bold. And so basically, with heading and bold documentation, you can start to mark in your document and start to give focus and attention to the AI. This is the most important thing. So a goal might be heading 1, right? And then you might have subheadings under that. So if you want to launch VS Code and just do a quick text document, or you can do it just a Gemini can do that actually. Just go to the Gemini tab and put in a quick prompt and use like a couple of hashtags and a couple of the asterisks. So let's do a prompt for what we want to do. Anybody got any ideas?
In the back? Oh, sorry. Yeah?
Most interesting what?
I'm thinking a lot about
Recipe.
data analysis. So for example, like if you wanted to find the most delicious, healthiest, easiest to prepare recipes.
Okay. So let's do heading 1 with a goal. Just do goal. Do heading 1 goal.
What, heading 1?
Yeah, just basic goal. The word goal. And do goal all the time. And then control.
Oh,
The control is their command or
yeah, sorry. I'm a big Windows user, so this is taking me a second.
It's actually shift enter.
Let's go.
command enter. What is it?
Shift enter.
Shift enter. I made mistakes too. There you go. And then just put it on. I want the whole system. For what? For what? Awesome. Process.
Recipe, something like that. Healthiest recipe.
And then, like, you know, shift enter, and you can do a subheading or something. 2 hashtags.
Let's go.
And ingredients, maybe. And then you could do like a shift in and list
know, pasta.
Sure, maybe pasta. And then shift enter, let's do another heading one. Heading one. And context, and then shift enter. So here we're using Markdown for giving emphasis to AI, we're using prompt components. And you can say, I am whatever. This is for, I'm a student at college. I am inviting my friends over. They are Italian. I want to exchange students. They're Italian students. I want to impress them. Right? And so here you're starting to see Markdown and use tell AI. Here's things to focus on. To get emphasis to the prompt. You're structuring the prompt. You're using those different prompting components, context, goal. We have subheadings and ingredients. So, not necessarily that helpful. I might also use capitals instead of just context sentence-based. I would do context all, or like bunch. There you go. That's cool. I like that. And you could also do, you could do the asterisks around bunch and tasty to make it bold, like 2 asterisks on each side. Right in front of bunch, put 2 asterisks. And then on the other side, tasty, put 2 asterisks. Oh, alright, that's fine. We're inside the bunch. Alright, we're doing bunch of tasty. Basically, that's like bold in computer speak, so just like you see bold in an email, and draw your attention to it. Here we get capitals and asterisks on both sides, and that's Markdown. So, you can run it if you want, or not run it, but if you go to Markdown cheat sheet again, you can see we did H1, H2, and bold text using Markdown prompts. Yeah, it's kind of useful. I'll just say that. Alright, sorry. I can't find this.
No,
Can I add something as well?
Right.
Sometimes Markdown can be kind of messy to read, especially if you're not used to programming and working with different kinds of syntax like that. What you can do is meta prompting. We kind of discussed it a little bit earlier, but this would be a perfect example of it. Say you wanted to speech text or something long and randomly, you can write something out, whatever your idea is, whatever you want, and at the beginning I would say, I want you to take the following paragraphs and reformat it so that it is in Markdown, so that the AI can better read through it. That would be a good way of not having to do it yourself, but still getting that Markdown format that you need.
All right, and I'm just showing you what it was able to give us from that little prompt. Has a bunch of healthy recipes for us to hopefully be able to try that don't take too much time, it sounds like, or too much work. Like the ultimate student hack is only 1 pot. But I would say, they have a lot of options for you to be able to use on this list. You don't have to use all of them, but being able to know when to kind of give emphasis on certain parts of your text definitely make it a lot easier for it to be able to give you better responses.
Thank you.
Quick question? Yeah, go ahead.
Is the Patterson protocol common across different checkboxes?
Sorry.
Is the Patterson protocol common across different checkboxes?
Yeah, all computers and all chatbots understand Markdown. And it's something that isn't required, but it's helpful, again, just to draw the attention of the AI to certain parts. This is my goal, this is the role, this is the context. And they'll all understand Markdown when they see it. Yeah.
Based on what you were saying, so if you give a verbal presentation or a verbal paragraph on what your project is, what your goal is, what the role is, and then you tell it to do the markdown, then you hit send or whatever, does it actually work better than just doing your rambling kind of explanation?
Yeah, it definitely can. Like you mentioned earlier, AI needs to focus its attention on easier for the AI to read, and can be really helpful when troubleshooting, like if the AI is focusing in on something that, yeah, you said and you want, but isn't the entire focus, or it's taking it way out of proportion, you can then use Markdown and go back and bold around certain things that you care about more, or maybe it doesn't fully understand the goal, you can add in that context header of this is the overall goal. Or you can give it step-by-step of what you want AI to follow through on. I want you to give 3 recipes. I want you to give them in 1 paragraph each one. Things like that can be really helpful if the prompts you're giving it aren't giving you the responses you want.
AI is very much that digital tool that wants to be focused. And so if you only partially focus, then you aren't going to get as good a result as if you really focus it. And so by asking for that prompt first and then using the prompt it gave you, that first prompt can help it formulate how it should be focused, and then when you run it, it might be more focused. But experiment with it, kind of through hands-on experimentation, see for yourself, right? Doesn't make a difference. And in some situations you might use it, and some not. Like I really want to see high quality results, so I'm going to use that. I don't really care.
Dancing around the next topic.
That circle means,
All right, I'm sure that the
Quick one?
Yes. Does it weigh the different markdowns differently? Say, for example, bold and italicized, will it weigh it a different way, or just the general way of emphasizing?
I would say personally, I've never seen it like way too differently. It's kind of like a pattern, like kind of like if it notices if you tend to use, bolds to emphasize certain things, it's going to give a particular emphasis on that. But by default, I haven't seen anything like that.
H1 will be more emphasis than H3. That's just the structuring of that kind of hierarchical notation. But again, just kind of interpret how we would see it. Like if you get an email with headings, H1s, H2s, H3s, and also some bold, and also some italicized, you kind of interpret that a certain way. You kind of just make an assumption. This is what I do. No methodology behind this, no data behind this, but I just assume the artificial intelligence is going to look at it kind of like my real intelligence looks at it. And this is italicized. This is a big heading. This is a small heading. So it'll give it more emphasis. Ready to go to the next one, Alex?
Yeah, so I'm sure that you guys all heard about the meta prompting from Todd and Douglas, and Jay really want to show you more examples. Would you like to give him a chance? Louder, please. Thank you.
Yeah, pretty much the last few questions we've been dancing around meta prompting already, so here's the demo. All right, so for those, raise your hand if you actually want to sit there and write a whole bunch of Markdown and like a huge 3 or 4 or 5 paragraph prompt on your own and do all the formatting and the planning yourself. Yeah, I didn't think so. I don't want to do that either. If you do, you're a workaholic. You need to take a vacation. But we're using AI, so we don't have to. So here's just a quick demo that I put together. So basically, I want AI to be as accurate as possible, to be as complete and as useful as possible, but I don't really, it's supposed to help me save time, right? So I don't want to sit there and write an entire essay just so that it can give me all of that, the detail and the complexity that I want. But it's AI, so we could have AI give us all that detail and complexity. So all I wrote was that first paragraph at the top. And all I said was, as a demo of AI meta prompting, make me a prompt for coming up with small business ideas that all GN. This is something that we talked about earlier, that if you make mistakes, AI will generally figure out what you mean. I meant to type a line there, but AI figured out what I meant. So, small business ideas that align with my own interests and hobbies, have it ask me questions, interviewing me for information to come, again, upstairs. No, I did not mean for AI to come upstairs. To come up with solid small business ideas. ask me about my free time, budget, customer base, anything else you think is relevant. Give me a prompt in Markdown. Again, this is what we're just talking about. I wanted to give me it in Markdown because I know that all the major frontier AI models use Markdown. So I know that it's going to be in a format that I could just plug into ChatGPT again, or I could plug into Claude, I could plug into Gemini, and it'll all just ingest it, no problem. In a copyable block, so I want to be able to just one click and I copy the entire thing so I can paste it right away. Again, we want to save time here. So I can give it to the LLM of my choice. So yeah, it took me about 15 seconds to come up with that single paragraph, and it came up with, let me just scroll down. How long would it have taken me to write all this instead? So there's your first big time saver. This is the meta prompt that it gave me. And this is where a large part of the power of AI will come in. Because basically AI is doing all this for me. And we're up to phase 2 now. Pattern analysis. After interviewing me thoroughly, summarize your feelings, include all sorts of stuff. Oh look, there's phase 3, business brainstorm.
That's great.
Generate 25 to 50 business ideas. This brings us to another advantage of meta prompting and it giving you this copy link. I could always go back and say, I don't want 50 different business ideas. I could just go back and edit this and say 5 to 10 business ideas instead, and then send out the prompt. I don't want it to just slam me with all sorts of business ideas that I'm not really gonna have time to read off the top of my head.
How many people want to copy this?
Again, I made this with about 15 seconds of writing a quick paragraph. So yeah, very powerful. Oh look, there's a phase 4. Ranking, score every idea, fit my interests, fit my skills, start before, so there's a phase 5. Let's do a deep dive. For each of the top 10 ideas, provide detailed business description, why it fits me, ideal customers, and so on. There's some info on the interview. Okay, finally ended. But it also said, hey, you know what? Maybe you could enhance it with this. Before it says, one enhancement that works particularly well with newer reasoning models is to add this instruction near the top. Before suggesting any business ideas, spend enough time. Okay, you know what? I'm going to hit. Go ahead and add that suggestion to the prompt and give it to me in another large block of Markdown. Make it copyable so I can paste it into my favorite LLM. Time saver.
And how many people, by show of hands, understand the word LLM? How many people are like, I still don't quite get that? What's it talking about? Okay, so an LLM, a chatbot, Gemini chat, Grok, Claude, these are all interchangeable terms. So when we talk about the large language model or LLM, that's what ChatGPT, Grok, and Gemini, and Claude are. We could say it's an LLM, we could say it's a chatbot, but these are the terms that we use. Just like we don't say, hey, it's a 4-wheel drive, it's a 2-wheel drive, it's a SUV, right? We're talking about cars. Here we just say it's an LLM, it's a chatbot. Those are interchangeable. Does that help? Raise your hands. Cool.
All right. So as you notice, it gave me the whole prompt again, but at the very top, it added that little suggestion that it had. And now we could take a look at this meta prompt and just edit it to our liking, or we could just copy the whole thing. I'm just going to tap that big copy button in the upper right, and then I could just you just paste it right in.
What's the main takeaway when we teach this here?
The main takeaway is that meta prompting. Let's go back to meta prompting. Actually describes a lot of things, but the biggest takeaway that we want you to get from this is that one of the most useful use of the meta prompting is just using a short, brief prompt to give you a very detailed, huge, but extremely useful prompt. Much more useful than that little paragraph that took me 15 seconds to create. And the second biggest detail is that I could always take a look at that big, giant prompt that it generated, customize it to my own needs. Like the example I used earlier, I don't want it to give me 50 business ideas. I just want it to give me the 5 best ones. I'll just change that 15 or 50 to a 5, and it'll, totally customize it. And then the final prompt is a very detailed prompt that I could just copy and paste into the LLM of my choice, into the chatbot of my choice. It's actually going to sit there and interview me and do all sorts of steps for me to come up with some great small business ideas, and it took me about 15 seconds to get the ball rolling.
Show of hands, some people that's helpful too. Anybody want to drop back to us what you just learned from Jay and Todd?
I think overall, teaching it boundaries
And teaching the boundaries.
and giving the system parameters so it doesn't go off tangents.
Yeah.
Narrow down the results.
Okay, good. Anybody else want to reflect back what you just learned from Jay's presentation?
Simplicity.
Simplicity. Go ahead, Jay.
How did I get to?
You just talk to the prompt.
Yep. So at the very, very top here,
Because AI is very smart, it can tell whether it's a prompt or it is actually a prompt or prompt.
When you copy and paste it, where's it going?
right into the same place So when I first typed this, I just typed it into ChatGPT, and then I copied the results of it, and I pasted it right back into ChatGPT. So ideally, you'll probably want to start a brand new conversation and then paste it in a brand new conversation. But yeah, you're basically taking what ChatGPT said and giving it right back to it. And giving it brand new instructions. And the new instructions are the ones that say, okay, now interview me, try to find out my interests, trying to find out what kind of business I want to start.
So
Go ahead.
So the workflow, one workflow, the way most people use AI is they go to AI and ask a question. That's it. That's one step done. This workflow is a two-step workflow. You go to AI and you say, give me a prompt. It builds you a prompt. That's step one. Right? That's prompting for a prompt. Step two is that you run that prompt. All right? So you're just adding in that extra step. So you're having AI create a prompt. Step one. Step two, add any AI, even the same one, you run that prompt. And so those two steps can give you a better prompt than if you just do step one, where you just create a prompt. Right?
We have a question about.
This is my representation and my reflection. Boom.
Nice.
It's amazing.
Nice.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that you could actually use AI in this way, and it can be a big revelation.
You have something to add?
I just wanted to ask, when you enter the prompt for what you want to ask, is it very specific that you need to write every single word? Or is AI comparable enough to understand your shortcut words or acronyms? That's the word.
Good.
The question was, do you have to write out everything, or can you skip things, abbreviate things? And the answer is yes, you absolutely can. Me personally, I don't always use AI. Full sentences. I will just say, make this, and then a few little bullet point examples. I don't make proper grammar, I make a lot of typos, and I just send it through. The AI can understand those, it can parse through. What we don't see in the background is whenever we make a prompt and we send it, the AI goes through a thinking phase where it reads over your prompt, it creates an initial response. It looks over its own response and back at your prompt, it compares a few times before finally giving your output. Certain models, you can actually see the thinking, and I've noticed that with those typos that I make or skips in my sentences, not finishing them, the AI does think over it. The AI thinks, oh, did they actually mean he but with a W instead of two E's, or do they do mean this other word? Let me look into that. No, this seems to have been a typo. I'll ignore this and move on. Things like that, it will skip over and it will understand what you mean.
Yeah. That said, though, you want to be as clear as reasonably possible. Like, for example, when I mistyped a line and downstairs earlier, it figured out what I meant. It didn't want me to have it walk down a flight of stairs or anything. But if you try to tell it something that is genuinely ambiguous and that it can reasonably mean one or the other thing within the context, then it might just choose one and it might choose the wrong one and you might have to go back. But this goes back to something that we talked about earlier. Have a conversation with AI. If it made a mistake, just correct it and say, try that again, you made a mistake right here. Please regenerate what you just said, or please tell me again what you just said, but correct this. And it'll be happy to do that.
Show of hands, how many people helped hear what Jay had presented? Cool, move the ball forward. Great. How many people it did not help? You're like, okay, I got all that already. Just me? Good job, Jay. Thank you. Alex, what's next?
Thank you. So the next topic is structure prompting. So basically, you guys are all learned about it already. So what I'm going to do, sorry you don't get choice this time, is to let you see 3 examples that we have applied in academia to use how to use structure prompting to introduce applications that is relevant to students. Can you do me a favor to access to?
Yeah, what do you need?
The share drive.
Okay, let me get my class. Do you email it to me?
Yeah.
My Gmail?
Yeah, just a link.
Okay. Alex. I'm not seeing it from you. Gmail.
Yeah, Gmail.
Yeah, I just looked. It's not there. Unless you went to spam.
Oopsie. Maybe search LIU?
Fresno State?
Yeah.
Oh, right there, dude.
Okay.
Oh,
Thank
where are you? I don't know where you are. All right, here you go.
So the question was, if the output isn't exactly what you wanted, do you
I'll
want
make
to
it quick.
copy and paste it, or can you just add on to what you used it for? And the answer is you can do both. You can copy and paste your previous input and change that around. You can also just tell the AI, no, that's not right, change it to be like this.
I feel like we're still at too many steps for like the person to understand and follow. I feel like the interface is going to be changing soon. I wonder if Fresno State or the students can know that.
So the question,
User friendly, you just click that in and do simpler, something more simple for prompting.
so the question is like, will there be like more simple user interface? So you can just kind of press a button and give it a prompt and it'll go? Is that what I'm understanding? Okay. So the answer is yes and no. This already is a very simplified and I would say user friendly in a sense way of achieving what you want. There are many different tools that you can use to make things simpler, but ultimately it does come down to like practice and working with it yourself and becoming knowledgeable with what's going on. I hope that helps.
I think what you're seeing is a very common experience, and it's something that I've definitely experienced, and this is my field, where it's a paradigm shift, it's a new way of operating in the world, and it still surprises me. I think coming out, I just got surprised again. Here's a new way I can use AI that I wasn't using AI before. And so that paradigm shift, part of it the better user interface, and part of what some companies are creating, is like, okay, well, there's a general tool that's, as wide as the world and can do everything. And we're learning how to tailor that in here. But then there'll be tools for Microsoft Excel, right? We work with Excel, they're just for Excel, but there'll be things for custom applications that are tailored for that. And a lot of the programming that people are doing for tailoring custom applications is just they're going through a lot of the manual steps that you use a really general tool to do things, and they're automating it. So, if you wanted to automate marketing, right, it'll go discover your customer for you, it'll produce the marketing pieces for you, it'll put them on the Facebook ads and Google ads for you. You can do all that manually, or you can use this tool for something. But the biggest piece of what you're speaking to, I think, is an experience tool, and there's a new way of using it. And it's, requires from us as earlier-ish adopters to have that spirit of adventure and exploration, and to be like, okay, what can we do with it? And to experiment with it, and play with it. And the people that mess with this are kids. Because they're like, they just jump in and they're super creative. And as adults, we're used to doing things a certain way, and we're like, I don't know. It's like, it doesn't look like Microsoft Office, what am I doing here? Or whatever, And so we just have to kind of adopt that spirit of adventure and exploration, try it out, and imagine possibilities in school. All right, keep going on. Good question.
All right, so this one is about structured prompting. So basically, you already learned everything, almost the fundamentals about the prompting. So this is, again, 3 examples to reiterate what you have learned so far. So as you can see, those hashtags, they are Markdown. And as you can see that basically the first one, rule, means that what you want AI to add us. Okay, so in this example, the first example I want to show you is that we actually have a colleague to use the AI to do grading right now. Okay, although that his rubrics is much more complex than this simple example. So he wants the AI to act as an essay grader and then perform the evaluation. And then the second Markdown is the rubrics that he introduced to determine the score of a student. And then, of course, the next one is, let me see, where is the cursor? Okay, the next one is the output. So this is the first example for you to see that we have applied AI to do grading, okay? So that is the first example. The second example is resume. So resume. So I'm sure that many of you guys own a business, or you are probably a manager, or you are in a hiring committee. That there's tons of a resume that you have to review to determine that who might be the best candidate. So in this example, that we also have several positions that's opening, and one position have over 120 applications that we have to review within a week. So what we do is that we also introduce this structured prompt using Markdown and a lot of other technologies that you learned today. For example, the first one is role. Again, what you want AIs to do. Yes, please. Yes, okay, my bad.
Zoom is top left by the toothbrush.
All right. All right, so so this is an example. So now the AI role is you're a senior HR manager, and you are going to review over 100 of resumes. And then the next one is a job description about the requirements of all this one. This is actually a real position. That's not relevant to our department, so I think that would be okay to post it here. And the next one is, how are you going to evaluate each resume? Okay, so how will be the rating? What will be the criterion? Similar to the concept of rubrics. And then, for example, there are certain rules you want to apply, you don't want to apply. For example, if some resume shows the gender, ages, or something like that, that is definitely a no-no. We are not, what I mean no-no is that we're not supposed to consider those situations. So those are similar to the constraints that we don't want AI to apply. Okay, and then we could also ask the AI to help us to summarize the strengths and the weakness of a candidate. That will give us some kind of guidance. And then we could also ask the AI to rank them, okay? And then a possible output. What I'm trying to say here is that this could help us to save some time to provide some summary, but it doesn't mean that we totally replace the entire evaluation. So this is the second example to show that it might be a good one that could be applied to your business practices. The third one is the last one. Okay, same thing here. All right, so context is something that you probably didn't see earlier. So basically, you also want to make sure that AI could be narrowed down, as some of you guys already learned that AI is very general, that it learns a lot of stuff, but if you want to make it accurate, more precise, you need to provide the context. And then we also mentioned about the rule and the goals. So this last example I want to show you is that student retention is also important to any university. So in this example, that we actually dumping a lot of business description, the business documentation to AI and have it to introduce a prediction system to help us to predict based on their GPA, based on their last semester's performance, based on the advising note, what will be the probability of this student can continue next semester. So that is also what AI can help a university do. So this is actually an example. As you can see that your prompt could also introduce an example to show that what would be the input look like. So basically what we do is that we need to feed in the student data to tell them, okay, this is a student major, computer science 4th semester, and number of credits that they take last semester and this semester, and what will be their different kinds of academic performance and stuff like that, and of course the advising note and so on and so forth. And then also, you could introduce an example output to see that, besides the percentage, what else? For example, summary of the strengths and weakness and the room of improvement for these students. How can we further advise students to help them to stay in the program? So this is also, and the part right here, analysis framework is a little bit technical. Basically, just like I mentioned earlier, we actually give in a business documentation and the habit to generate some certain kinds of step-by-step analysis so that we could provide a more accurate analysis. So this is a little bit more technical, but just want to show you that the first example is an essay example. We use LLM to do the grading. Second example is to use AI to do the summary of resumes. The third one is to use AI to help us to predict and help us to assess whether this student may need help so that we could keep them in the university. All right? Yes, go ahead, please.
So could this be a tool that, let's say I'm looking for a job, right? I could run it through chat or any other LLMs and then have it assess my strengths and weaknesses?
That's actually a very good point. Exactly. So if you are, this is actually a very, very nice takeaway. So if you're looking for a new job or changing a job, so there's one good use case is that you could actually upload your resume and also upload the job descriptions and then try to have the AI to help you to assess your own strengths and weakness. And then you could, based on your current resume, to ask AI, is there any room for me to edit the resumes to fit into this job description or not? Yes, go ahead.
Maybe 50% of them would have 15 years minimum. The other 50% would be anywhere between no experience and 14 years, 11 months experience. And that applies to all fields. You ask a specific question, and you're going to get an answer. And it may be a very good answer, maybe something you didn't think of. How do you keep this program from knocking out all those people?
Oh, that's actually a very, very good question. So in this example, that's actually, we keep want to reminding people is that AI is not to take away our daily routine or this kind of, there needs to be some guards. Still need to have human being to evaluate those outliers, because AI may mistakenly parse or interpret this wrongly. Because one example is that one resume indeed is evaluated wrongly. So what I did is that I actually go over all the resumes one time and want to make sure that there's no mistakes. But indeed still provides certain kinds of good summary. So again, these three examples. Oh, by the way, I want to mention, roll back to the meta-programming one. Many of these prompts are actually refined by the meta-programming approach, meta-prompting approach. So continue to iterate through the concept of meta-prompting will be the one to optimize the final version of the prompt that you will send it to the AI.